Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on your closet because there's this incredible, really complex story woven into every single piece of clothing you own. I mean, think about it. We all have that one favorite t-shirt, right? Or that perfect pair of jeans. But have you ever really stopped to think about how it was made? Where it actually came from?
That journey from just a single tiny fiber to the shirt on your back, it's a fascinating and super complex process. So let's break it down.
Okay, so pretty much every piece of clothing, doesn't matter if it's cotton, polyester, whatever, it goes through these four main stages. We're going to start at the very beginning with how a single thread gets made, and we'll follow it all the way through to the end.
All right, so where does it all start? Well, it begins at an almost microscopic level, with the fiber. This is the absolute basic building block of any textile. Think of it like a single brick for a house.
And right from the get-go, we hit this massive fork in the road. Is the fiber natural or is it synthetic? You've got your natural fibers, things like cotton and wool that come from plants and animals, and then you have synthetics like polyester, which are, they're basically a type of plastic made from fossil fuels. And believe me, this one choice, it has huge implications for everything that comes after.
So, let's take cotton, for example. Its journey starts with these giant compressed bales. I mean, they're massive. And they have to go through this whole process of being opened up, blended, and cleaned just to get rid of all the gunk. The dust, the leaves, the little seeds. It's all about turning a raw farm product into these soft, fluffy, usable fibers.
Okay, so now we have yarn, we've got our thread. But that's just a one-dimensional line, right? The next big challenge is turning that line into a two-dimensional fabric. And there are basically three main ways to get that done.
First up is weaving. This is the classic, the OG method. It's what creates that sturdy, stable fabric you feel in your denim jeans or a crisp button-down shirt. It's really just like a simple grid, with two sets of yarn crossing over and under each other at right angles. That's what gives it that strength.
Then you've got knitting, and knitting is totally different. It's all about making loops. This is the technique that gives your favorite t-shirt or your comfy socks that stretchiness. So instead of that rigid grid from weaving, you get this series of interconnected loops that can move and stretch with you.
And then there's this third category, non-wovens. And these are kind of wild because you skip making yarn completely. You just take the raw fibers and bond them together, either with heat or chemicals or just a lot of pressure. Think about materials like felt or those disposable cleaning wipes or even medical masks. That's non-woven fabric.
So at this point, what we have is a big piece of unfinished fabric. In the industry, they call it greige fabric, like gray but spelled differently. It's kind of drab. The next stage is where all the magic happens. This is where it gets its color, its feel, its special functions. This is where the chemistry really kicks in.
It's a stage called wet processing. And yeah, it's basically a multi-step chemical bath for the fabric. First, you've got to clean it, get rid of any natural waxes or oils. Then you bleach it. You need a pure white canvas before you can add any color, right? After it's dyed, it gets these finishing treatments, maybe to make it water repellent or just to give it a softer feel.
But here's the thing. This stage, it comes with a massive hidden cost. Just look at this. Wet processing, that one stage, is responsible for a staggering 86% of all the water used in making textiles. That makes it, by far, the most resource-heavy part of the entire process. It's just incredible.
And it's not just water either. The amount of chemicals being used is just immense. We're talking about something like 10,000 different types of dyes and pigments that the industry uses to get all those vibrant colors we see in the stores. I mean, this is the part of the process that turns a boring piece of cloth into something you actually want to buy.
All right, our fabric is finally colored, it's finished, it's ready to go. So now it's time for the final assembly. This is where we turn that flat, two-dimensional material into three-dimensional clothes.
So this is it, the home stretch. It all starts with the design and the patterns. Then they take these huge stacks of fabric and cut them with insane precision. And finally, all those little pieces are sewn together. And what's really amazing is that even with all our technology and automation, this part is still mostly done by hand. It really depends on the skill of actual people to put each garment together.
But you know what? The story doesn't actually end when the clothes leave the factory. Not by a long shot. If we really want to understand the impact of our clothes, we have to look at the entire life cycle. And that means thinking about what happens after we bring them home.
And this is especially true for those synthetic fabrics we talked about. Since they're basically plastic, they don't biodegrade.
they can just sit in a landfill for hundreds of years. Plus, making them uses up non-renewable fossil fuels. And here's the kicker. Every single time you wash them, they shed these tiny little microplastics that end up in our water. It's a huge problem.
So when you understand this whole journey, from the tiny fiber all the way to the finished shirt and what happens after, it really empowers you, right? It lets you make more informed choices. It's all about being a more conscious consumer. Maybe that means buying a little less, or choosing natural fibers more often, or even just repairing your clothes instead of throwing them out.
So yeah, the next time you're getting dressed, just take a second. Think about the incredible, resource-heavy, globe-spanning journey that your clothes have been on to get to you. It's a really, really long story. And the question is, what part do you want to play in it?